Good morning, little prince. Come on over. Give Mommy a kiss. Come on. Come on. Give Mommy a kiss.
This is the story of an incredibly sweet miniature horse named Peabody, whose short life left an everlasting mark on our hearts. He wasn't just a horse, he became a beloved member of our family. Small, brave, and full of love, Peabody showed us what true courage looks like.
Not one time did this little guy obey us. Not once. But I think that's why we loved him so much.
He was only 3 days old when I first heard about him. His mother had rejected him because he was too tiny and weak to survive. He had crooked legs and a misaligned jaw that made it hard for him to walk or eat properly. One day, the owner of a breeding ranch called and said, "My mare just had a foal, but he's a runt. We're going to put him down." My heart sank. Without hesitation, I said, "No, don't do that." I was ready to drive across the country if it meant saving this little baby. When I finally met Peabody, his eyes seemed to say, "Did I really die and go to heaven?" I started feeding him milk from a bowl since he couldn't open his mouth well enough to drink from a bottle. It wasn't easy, but I refused to give up. His first steps felt like witnessing a miracle. I made him tiny shoes to help support his crooked legs, and soon the sound of his little hooves knocking on the wooden floor became music in our home. Because Peabody was so small and fragile, he couldn't safely live with other horses. One accidental bump could knock him over. So instead, he became our indoor pet horse. And honestly, he never seemed to think of himself as a horse at all. I already had 2 French bulldogs, and one of them, Penelope, quickly became Peabody's best friend. The first time they met, they stood nose to nose, perfectly still for a moment, and then suddenly, they started to play. They'd chase each other around the house, competing to see who was faster. Peabody always tried his best to win, and watching them together never failed to make me smile. At dinner time, all 3 of them would run into the kitchen like a little pack. The dogs sometimes bumped into each other, but they were always careful not to hurt Peabody. They seemed to know he was fragile. Despite his size, Peabody acted like a true stud. He even stopped chewing on my papers once. A small but proud victory. Of course, he had his mischievous moments too, like when he'd sneak up behind the dogs and nip at their tails. But it was impossible to ever be mad at him. Sadly, miniature horses with dwarfism rarely live long. Our little hero Peabody left this world far too soon. Yet his joyful spirit, his endless energy, and his loving heart will stay with us forever. He taught us that even the smallest and most fragile creatures can fill our lives with the greatest joy. If Peabody's story touched your heart, please like, comment, and subscribe to our channel for more inspiring animal stories. And if you're thinking about bringing an exotic or special needs pet into your home, always do your research and consult professionals first, so every animal can live the happy, healthy life they deserve.